Yo, Dan, what's up, man? It's Will. Hey, I'm putting this video together. Hope the sound comes through alright. These are the exercises that I think you should do to level out your hips. If you find the book that I wrote, you can find most of these in there probably. The first one, then probably the most powerful one you can probably do just on its own and it would level your hips out, is the spread foot forward bend sequence. And the way that looks is like this. You stand with your feet pretty wide apart. Make sure they're pointed straight ahead. Your thighs are tight. There's a little arch in your low back. And you cross your arms in front of you like this. You lower yourself slowly down, all the way, and then you pull yourself back up, keeping the weight forward on the front of your feet, like the balls of your feet. You can go nice and slow, making sure you keep the weight forward. Do 5 like this. 5 with your hands behind your head. Down and up. And then 5 with your arms straight up above your head. Down and up. Making sure you keep the weight forward the whole time on the front part of your foot, the forefoot, like right underneath the ball. And that should do wonders to help level out your hips, even just in itself. And as long as you keep your foot forward in that front spot, you'll feel your hamstrings and your butt doing a lot of the work to pull you up. And that will help level you out, and it will also help straighten out your upper body. Another exercise that you should do after that are the assisted runner stretch, which I'll show you in a second, as well as a downward dog, and then follow that with a windmill. So I'll show you those 3 right now, okay? The assisted runner stretch, you can use a chair to help cue yourself, and the way that goes is kneel right in front of the chair, so your knee is touching your front heel like this, and your other knee is touching the chair. Tuck this foot so that the bottom of the toes are touching the ground, and come up. Make sure your belly button is pointed straight towards the ground, and you feel a stretch in the hamstring on the front leg, okay? Squeeze both thighs tight the whole time, and then arc your tailbone up, so you're trying to flatten your lower back, and then you'll feel a huge stretch in your front hamstring. And make sure that your hips stay square. You don't want your hips to twist sideways or your spine to be any direction but other than straight. So the best way to monitor that is to look at your belly button and make sure it's pointed straight down, okay? So you'll hold that, and if you're doing it right, your hips will be square as opposed to like that, okay? 1 minute on each side. And then you can do a downward dog, which you know how that goes. I'm sure you've done it a bunch of times. Start on your hands and knees. Come up. Flatten your back, and then straighten your knees. This floor is really slippery, but do it on a mat so that you don't slide anywhere. And that's going to help straighten out your torso and also correct any rotation that might be there in your hips. And then the last one that I would want you to do in the sort of primary series to help straighten out your hips is a windmill. And I think this will do a lot, considering that that hands behind the head and walk had a major impact on you. The standing windmill looks like this. It's also in the Supernatural book. Square that up. So what you do is you stand at a wall, your back against the wall, your feet pointed straight ahead, and at first they're hip width apart, okay? Put your arms and head on the wall. I don't have a flat wall here, but imagine that this behind me is a flat wall, alright? Keeping your hips centered, don't let them slide to the side. Keep them right where they are, and then tilt as far as you can to one side, come up, and go to the other, and up. Nice and slow and controlled. 5 times each way, making sure you keep your feet flat and don't let like a heel raise up or anything like that. Keep your feet flat and your weight will shift a little bit left to right, but keep your hips centered, okay? So you do 5 like that with your feet hip width apart, then do it with your feet a little bit wide, like shoulder width apart, 5 more each way against the wall, then 5 more each way, really wide with your feet, then bring it back in again, back to hip width, and do 5 more, just like that, alright? And after that sequence, your body will feel really, really even front to back, left to right. If you do feel any extra like work or tightness or tension in your lower back after doing that, then do the standing quad stretch, which looks like this. You hold your quad inside, put your hand on a wall. I don't care if you can do it without a wall. I want you to do it with the wall. It has to do with correcting the dynamic tension in the body. So make sure the quad is stretched and the knee is even with the other knee. It's flush. Your lower back is flattened, so your stomach is flattened, your butt's tucked a little bit, and you're pushing into the wall. Okay? And that pushing into the wall is going to help keep the weight kind of, if anything, towards the ball of the foot on the standing leg. Hold that for 1 minute on each side. And then, of course, it's a great idea to finish with standing at a wall, nipple meditation, for a few minutes. But that's the sequence, man. So to repeat it, it's that spread foot forward bend sequence that I showed you, like the legs wide apart, the arms like this, then this, then that assisted runner stretch, which looks like the start of a sprint, 1 minute each side. And then downward dog, 1 minute. Then the standing windmill, 5 times each way. In each of those positions, hip width, a little wider than shoulder width, really wide apart, and then back to hip width. And then standing at wall and quad stretch are optional to add there at the end if you need to. Standing wall is definitely still a good one to keep in the mix, but those other ones that I just showed you will definitely level you out. And if you have any other imbalances that are still remaining, then you can definitely also do these last 2. These ones are floor exercises, and they look like this. There is the hip lift, where you start off by crossing one leg over the other right at the ankle, then lift up like this. And you push using your hip muscle. Don't use your hands, but using your hip, you push this knee out away from you, so the 2 legs are fighting against each other. You hold that for 1 minute, palms up, and just relax your upper body. But this foot is flexed up, and these hips are working against each other. After 1 minute, you switch, repeat. Then you can also do a hip crossover, which looks like the same position like this. Hip knee is still pushing out and away. But then you come down to the ground here, this, scoot back so you can see like this. Palms are down this time. This knee is pushing out and away and it stays there. And then you look towards the opposite direction. So if my right ankle is over my left knee, I'm going to look to my right, away from the camera, for 1 minute. Then I come up, same thing, other side, switch, and look the opposite direction that your legs are pointing. Palms down, 1 minute. Then cats and dogs, 10 times to reintroduce symmetry to the spine. So you can add those to the mix if need be, but they're kind of like auxiliary exercises, but they will help level out your hips as well. So I'm going to stop it there because I want to keep it under 10 minutes to get on YouTube. Alright, man? Let me know if you have any questions, okay? Peace.